When the Japanese adopted a modern small-bore smokeless powder infantry rifle, they went with the Type 38, chambered in 6.5.
So the Japanese Type 38 is one of those guns that we tend to generally call Arisakas, but that's a little unfair to a man named Kojiro Nambu. Because, Narakira Arisaka designed the Type 30 from which the Type 38 is derived. The Type 38 has a lot of particular design elements that Nambu incorporated into the gun that are worthy of some praise.
The Japanese Type 38 Arisaka rifle is basically one of the two Japanese rifles that saw a great deal of service during the Second World War that were most commonly souvenired by GIs and brought home. The Type 38 was the rifle that was designed in 1905 and in 6.5 millimeter. While the Type 99 was in 7.7 millimeters. So that's how we keep our two Japanese guns straight, because not a lot's actually been written about either gun, or for that matter, mostly Imperial Japanese firearms that translates well into English.
So the gun we call the Type 38 is a turnbolt design, and actually one of the strongest actions ever made. After World War II, the U.S. Army Ordnance Department decided to test every bolt action there was, and they found that it was really hard to blow up a Type 38. This gun was designed by Kirju Nambu, a Japanese Army officer whose name is attached to just about every Japanese military small arm, and we call them Arisakas, but they're still Nambus.
Now, when I say Type 38, that means the Japanese didn't name their guns after a person or whatever it might be. It was named after the year of the reigning emperor, how many years he'd been in reign. In this case, it was the 38th year of the Meiji emperor, so Type 38. The guns were produced at some Japanese arsenals. They had a fairly simple bolt, very, 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 very strong action. Matter of fact, it was determined after World War II, as a matter of fact. They were tested, and it was probably the strongest military bolt action ever made. And it may still be to this day.
So one of the things when you look at the Type 38 that you notice almost immediately is that it's got this pretty solid cylindrical cover over the action, and the bolt handles protruding from that. Now, on all of these guns, these were fitted to each individual rifle. So they worked well as long as you had the original cover on that original gun. And with the way the bolt operated, that sliding cover just exposed the action just long enough to get a spent cartridge case out of the gun. And then you could operate it smoothly and seamlessly with that protective weather cover. The other interesting thing that Nambu incorporated into the Type 38 design is if you look at the front receiver ring, just off the right side of the gun, there's this little hole there in the stock. And his thought there was that, if you're using this rifle fighting in jungle conditions in the islands of the Pacific, you're gonna have a lot of mud, water intrusion into the action. And so that was designed as an escape hole, so if you were working the action, it could actually push sand and water out the front of the action under the receiver. The other thing that Nambu incorporated into this is an amazing network of gas relief holes and some design elements intended to redirect escaped propellant gases away from a shooter's face.
Another interesting feature on the Type 38s was they have a chrome bore, chrome line bore, which helped eliminate deterioration in some of the climates that they were using the guns. Interestingly enough, in 1913, it was thought so highly by the Mexican government that they ordered a quantity of them. Unfortunately, they didn't pick most of them up. A lot of them remained in stores. But the Japanese themselves first used the gun in combat in 1914 against the Germans during World War I. Subsequently, guns were made by the Japanese for the Russians in World War I, also for the French and the British. The British used them initially, never really put them into frontline service, because by the time a lot of the guns were delivered, they had enough Lee Enfields in stock that they really didn't have to. So they were piecemealed out to other forces. It's said that even T.E. Lawrence had some Type 30s and Type 38s in Arabia with him, although the word is that he did not approve of them for some reason or another.
So it's thought that at least 3 million of these rifles were made for Japanese imperial forces. And at the end of World War II, of course, everybody wanted an Nambu pistol, but also they would bring rifles back to the United States as war trophies. So you see these guns around. They're very collected, not as much so as, say, Mauser rifles or others. But the real problem with them is finding ammunition. I think they'd be shot a lot more if there was a steady supply of affordable ammunition for them.